12 Sports Team presents the Binghamton Coaches Show. Only on WBNG.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us once again for WBNG's Bearcats Coaches Show. As the fall season wraps up, we are going to head over to campus over the next half hour to check in on some of the teams that will be competing over the winter and getting ready for championships coming up as we turn the calendar to 2025. We start tonight's show with a trip to Dr. Bailey Court and our one-on-one with women's basketball head coach Mary Grimes. Thank you for joining us once again as we continue our conversations with the Bearcats coaches as we are on campus at the Bearcats Event Center. And I'm sitting next to the women's basketball head coach, Coach Mary Grimes. Appreciate you joining us here for a few moments. We'll start with an easy one here. How has the season been so far?
It's been great. You know, I think we're growing as a team. We're growing as a coaching staff, and it's just cool to see the team gel as well as the coaching staff. I mean, the staff is really taking the time to invest in the players, and, you know, we're just trying to make them better humans, better basketball players.
All right, so let me ask, what have you liked so far? What have you seen on the court that you've been happy and proud of?
Yeah, so far as our defensive effort, I know maybe, you know, some of the scores don't say it, but, you know, whether we're playing man or zone, it's a trust factor, and that's something we're talking about as a team, and I think we're learning to grow as a team and trusting each other, whether defensively someone's got to help and then someone else helps them. So I'm really liking our defensive proudness that we're having so far this season.
So flip side of the coin, what are some of the things that you've seen early on that you guys need to improve on or work on as you finish up non-conference and get into the conference season?
Yeah, I think just our offense, to be honest. I know we focused a lot on it in the summer, in the preseason, but I think, you know, we've been talking about free throws, and Boeheim has that old adage, maybe you're just a bad free throw shooting team, but we talked about it, and we just talked about, is that going to be our identity? Do we accept that? So we've really been trying to focus on free throws and scoring the basketball and sharing the basketball. I think that comes with knowing each other as well, and so being able to shoot the three. I know KK has really been coming on for us. Kaylee has been coming on for us and being a main contributor because we have so many offensive weapons that we are really trying to focus on everybody being able to score.
All right, so you beat me to the punch a little bit on that, talking about Kaylee. So we'll jump around a little bit here. Let's start right there. You've had a couple of contributors early this season, Kaylee, Bella Pucci as well, that have shown up on the score sheet, you know, a guard leading you in rebounds. What have you seen from some of those names we weren't expecting to see at the beginning of the year? Yeah,
I was in the gyms when Bella and Kaylee were playing, so I know what they can do. I've seen them play throughout high school, and so the opportunity to coach them here at Binghamton, I was super excited. I mean, Kaylee can fill up the three-point line. I mean, she gets inside. She can shoot mid-range jumpers, so she's not a donut, as we like to call them. You know, she can score inside and in the mid-range. And I watched Bella Pucci, you know, rebound the basketball all through high school, so it's not a surprise. It's just the fact that she's getting the opportunity, and you need those players that want to do those little things. Scoring maybe is not the first thing on their mind, and so, you know, that's a great thing for our team to have someone who's so rebounding minded.
Bella and Kaylee aside, who are some of the other people? I know we've talked a lot about Kaya, we've talked a lot about Jaden, but who are some of the other people that when you get down here to the event center, you get a chance to see perform out on the court? Yeah,
I think Leah Middleton, you know, she's a transfer from Lemoyne. She's really coming into her own. I think she was just learning me at Lemoyne, and she was learning the pace of college basketball last year at Lemoyne, and so defensively she's been unbelievable for us, and I think offensively she's going to be able to come around a lot more. She's second in scoring right now, but I think she has more to offer offensively. And I think, you know, Cam inside and Kendall Bennett are really growing. We're a young team, so it's going to take some time for them to mature inside, and so I'm really looking forward for them to continue to grow.
All right, as they do continue to grow, and you talked a little bit about it takes, you know, the chemistry, getting to know each other on and off the court. Off the court, what are some of the things that you guys do to help grow that chemistry, to get to know each other as you're bringing in some of the people that came with you as well, you know, some of the holdovers and the returners from last year?
Yeah, well, it started this summer. We did a bingo sheet where we have Bearcat sisters, so they're groups of 3 players on a sister group, and they would do different things around Binghamton. So they'd go to Sugar Lips, or they'd go, you know, for a nature walk around campus, and they'd have to, you know, take a picture and show us, you know, show the group, and then whoever got bingo, you know, that was a cool prize. But, you know, as the holidays come up, we did pumpkin carving, and so it was pretty cool to hear their stories behind why they carved the pumpkin a certain way, and it's always cool when they tie it back into basketball. So I can't remember who won, but I'm pretty sure it was somebody who brought up the theme of our season this year. So some of the things we do off the court.
All right, so I got to ask then, what is the theme of the season? But that aside, how do those bonding events, how does that culture event help give you success on the court?
For me personally, it just helps me learn who they are and who's creative and who has some hidden talent. So I try to draw those things out of them. I'm probably a jack of all trades myself. You can get into that later. But you know, it helps just grow knowing each other. You know, I know that Jaden's going to have someone's back, and so some of those things are pretty cool to have as a team. And we've kind of got 2 themes right now, just some team grit, which I think we definitely showed against Pitt. It's something we didn't have against Cornell, so we showed a little bit of team unity and some grit. And the second one's probably on the prowl, because I think just knowing where our team is and how hungry they are, and we're Bearcats, so we are on the prowl for a championship this year.
All right, so you talked a little bit about a couple of games from a little earlier in the season, Cornell and Pitt, and they were similar in the fact that there were some runs, and you guys got to a point where you were 1 point, tied right up there, but 2 different outcomes. Cornell kind of pulled away, Pitt, you were right there and had a shot at the end for it. The growth between those 2 games, what was there?
I mean, it was just amazing because they were within days apart, and we just talked about rebounding. We talked about Pat Summitt talking about rebounding, and I told him, you know, the English language is kind of weird to learn, because rebounding, we needed to rebound the basketball, but we also needed to rebound from that loss. And things in that game, maybe things weren't going your way. How can we rebound and get better? How can we rebound and make the next pass? So that is what we really focused on, is the rebounding aspect, not only like physically going to get rebounds, but rebounding from things that may not be going our way. And that's something I don't think we were able to do against Cornell, that we were able to have success against Pittsburgh with. And so, you know, I feel like they're all just really sponges right now, and whatever I'm telling them, they're like, okay, yeah, we can buy into that. And it's a positive outlook on how we can grow and get better as a team.
I've heard you say that a couple of times now, and has the sponge gotten bigger? Have you been able to instill more and put more in as the season's gone along? Yeah,
for sure, and it's honest conversations. You know, we talk about how can we grow as a team, what winning teams look like, and every time I've presented them with an honest conversation, they've given me great feedback, and we just talked about what a winning team looks like. And I said, you know, everything we listed, from trust, communication, hustle plays, clean locker room, it had nothing to do with Jaden Welch scoring 30 points or Kaya Good scoring 20 points. So all those intangibles, I think their understanding is what it takes to have a winning team.
All right, well, you've been a part of several of them. So what does a winning team look like?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to my college coach, and my freshman year we didn't do so well at Siena, but my sophomore year she started off the year with our stools in our locker room that said Siena on them, and she said everyone's stool had to face the same way when we left the locker room, and it just stuck with me. And she said it started there, and it did. If you look at the All Blacks, the Australian you know, rugby team, or New Zealand, I'm sorry, they keep the locker room clean. And so that's what we started with, and that's where we're growing from. And so everything else comes along. Even the Miami Heat coach, he said that about LeBron. He didn't have to teach him those culture things. He already had his locker folded nice and neat. And so LeBron's a winner. You know, I've been a winner in the past. The All Blacks are winners. And so I know that's what it takes just to start to understand what it takes to win.
Absolutely. I was talking to the other day about this, about if you aren't spending time and effort teaching how to keep the locker room clean, you get time and effort teaching pick and rolls and defense and putting in the things that you're actually supposed to be instilling during those you know, practice time is limited, you know, so you only get so much for sure. So.
Yes, for sure. And so we started there, and I mean, so now we can grow about how we're going to adjust and pick a roll situation defensively, how we're going to make that one extra pass because we care about the locker room. We can care about our teammate getting an open shot.
All right, so we'll finish up here. As you're talking about growing, the Bearcat program growing, we saw on Instagram recently some names that inked the contract for NLI. You know, what can you tell us about the future of Bearcat basketball?
Well, I mean, it's just going to keep growing. I think women's basketball in general has, you know, has grown so much. And then for our signees, I think they're winners. First and foremost, they've won at the EYBL level. They've won at the high school level. So I'm really excited about the future of women's basketball. I think they bring a different element that we don't have here, and that's what I like. I like variety, you know. So Kaylee can come in and shoot those threes against a team that's, you know, playing zone. And Bella can rebound against a team that's playing man. Or Jaden can get steals and go for layups. So if you have that variety, that's what I think makes a great team. And I think our signees are going to be a great addition to us next year.
All right, and then just finally, as we get ready for America East play and we get ready for the rest of the Bearcats season, what can we expect this year?
Yeah, I think just some great growth, and we've seen it so far. I think an exciting brand of basketball. We're really scoring the basketball right now, so you know, it'll be exciting to see who pops up, you know, in the scorer sheet every week, and if we can hold teams defensively to where we're holding them right now, I think it's going to be a great America East conference.
Certainly not a problem to have when you have 8 or 9 different options who can be your leading scorer from night to night. So.
Exactly.
But thank you, Coach. I appreciate you giving us a few moments here, and we thank you for staying with us on the Bearcat Coaches Show. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after this break. When we come back, we hit the mat with the Bearcats wrestling team. Stay tuned. The Binghamton Coaches Show is back after this break. Welcome back as we continue our conversations with the Bearcats coaches. We head from the event center now over to the West Gym as the Bearcats wrestling team is hitting a decade with Coach Kyle Borshoff on its bench. We check in with the coach and get a look at this year's team.
The expectation for us is always to win, right? Whoever stands in front of us, no matter where it is, who it is, where they're from, the expectation is to win.
An expectation that head coach Kyle Borshoff has instilled in the program since arriving on campus a decade ago. In that time, along with leading the Bearcats to almost 50 wins, he also led the Bearcats' transition into the EIWA, one of the toughest wrestling conferences in the country.
The more chances you have to wrestle the best guys, the more chances you have to get a big win. And once you get a big win, you start to get a lot of confidence and understand that you can compete.
Last season, the Bearcats won more overall and more dual matches than they have in nearly 10 years.
Every single year we're wrestling the best teams in the country, and every single year we're sending guys to the NCAA championships, and every year we're winning matches at the national championships.
One of Coach Borshoff's NCAA winners is back for another year, but this time on the bench instead of on the mats, as Lou Dupre joined the coaching staff over the summer.
He's able to provide that confidence to the team of, you're doing the right things, right? This is what I did. This is how I was successful. Let's continue to get better at those areas. And it's been helpful because some of the things that Lou maybe didn't have success with, that he wanted to have more success with, he can share that message with the team.
Along with Lou, this year's Bearcats returns 2 other NCAA participants from last season, Brevin Casella and Corey Day.
The guys that are just starting with the program or that have been here a few years can look at those guys and understand, like, okay, maybe we might have come from similar places, right? Similar situations when we were in high school or past results, and I can be the next national qualifier for Binghamton. I can be an All-American for Binghamton. And that's the goal for those guys, and I know it's what they're telling their teammates.
One of those teammates is Will Ebert. The junior took home the EIWA Wrestler of the Week award after 2 wins over ranked opponents.
Will has a unique style. He does certain things very well, and he just needed to figure out how to do those things against guys that were maybe much better than some of the guys he had competed with a couple years ago when he was in high school, and he's starting to figure it out now.
Bing is back on the mats for big matches in the month of December, all against nationally ranked teams, including #1 in the nation, Penn State. Coming up, we take to the pool with the defending America East champs. Binghamton swim and dive. Don't go anywhere. We are back in just a minute. Binghamton is back in the pool and looking to go back-to-back as America East champions. The men's swimming and diving team took home last year's America East crown, led by Elijah Lanphier and a handful of Section 4 alums. The Bearcats are back on the prowl and back in the pool, swimming for another title. While the Bearcats still reign supreme in the America East pools, this year's team will look a bit different than last year's conference champions.
Our goal is to continue to compete at a high level. We've got 23 new swimmers this year, divers, transfers, so, just trying to get everyone up to that standard.
Leading the way for Binghamton in the pool once again is senior and Shenango Valley alum Elijah Lanphier.
He's been a stud for us consistently, and he's continued to do that and probably elevated his game a little bit. He's a captain for us, and he pushes his teammates to live up to his expectations as well.
Lanphier is not the only Section 4 swimmer in the pool for the Bearcats. Between the men's and women's teams, there are 7 athletes that competed locally for high schools here in the Southern Tier.
We've been lucky. We've been able to have a great group of local kids, Maine Endwell, Seton, Shenango Valley. We've got 6 or 7, and we're continuing to look at some kids from the area. So, to get the local kids to come here and swim at a high level and compete and, really do really well for us is exciting. It's something we definitely take pride in.
The defending champs are more than just a handful of standouts, though, and Coach Comiskey knows it will take the whole team to win it all again.
We're going to need, 20 guys to score and score at a high level and be ready to go.
For the women, Coach says they are not far off the pace either.
I think last year was a huge turning point for our women. We, won a couple events at the conference level, won a couple relays, and I think we're better this year. We're deeper. We've got a good group of freshmen. We're swimming well. So we're excited. Excitement
that has already led to early season wins for both the men and the women in the pool.
We've got a good group, and we're excited to see what they can kind of do here mid-season and then go from there.
Still ahead, we hit the hardwood with the Bearcats women's volleyball team and look back at its first historic season playing in the Event Center. Thank you for staying with us this Tuesday as we wrap up this month's show with one last look back at the historic season that was for women's volleyball and the legacy that fifth-year outside hitter Svetlana Ilieva will leave on the Binghamton campus. Your 2024 America East regular season champions, the Binghamton Bearcats women's volleyball team. 2024 was, as Coach Ali Yeager calls it, special for the Binghamton volleyball team, starting right from the first serve as the Bearcats played all their home games for the first time in program history on Dr. Bailey Court.
Playing every single match in there has been fun. It's a different vibe. The girls play really, really well in there. We always play well at home, but just being in the event center just sets a different vibe for the girls and for the feeling of it all, and just the atmosphere that our community creates and our home crowd creates. It's fun.
The Bearcats finished their home schedule with a 7-3 record and the top spot in the America East standings for the regular season.
This team, they love each other so much, and I really feel that that is what makes them so special.
That bond is something Coach Yeager says makes this team stand out from the others she's been on the sidelines for.
I've been doing this a long time, and it's always what makes a team so special is that everybody is so different. You're never going to coach a kid that is the same player with the same personality, with the same skill capability. They're all so different, and I love each and every one of them, but all in different ways, and I feel like they love each other in all different ways, but equally.
For Coach, however, one Bearcat has been able to stand out over the last several years and has left her mark on the Vestal campus.
When they're invested in you is what makes it really special. And I felt from day one when I recruited Svet, she's been invested in me and my program and my family. And it's very easy to do that back with her.
Fifth-year outside hitter Svetlana Ilieva's Binghamton career may be over, but what she's leaving the program, Coach says, will last a lifetime.
To change this program around and create a different culture and be successful the last few years, it's just been a very special time.
And while her time on the court coaching Svet has come to an end, it's one she hopes when looking back may come into a better perspective.
I feel like I don't realize it now. I can only hope that in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years, people are still talking about what we did and how we changed this program together.
Coach says the memories from this year have not fully sunken in, but she already knows that they will never be forgotten.
I will never forget this team because it was such a special year for me, and it continues to be such a wonderful experience being here and being a Bearcat.
That is going to be it for us this month. We are back on December 17th as we close out 2024 and look back at another championship year on the Bearcats campus. From a second straight Commissioner's Cup win to the first appearance in the NCAAs for women's lacrosse. We welcome some new faces both as players and coach, and we will say goodbye to the university's president, Harvey Stanger. All of that is what you can look forward to in next month's episode. But until then, we say goodnight, and we thank you for tuning in and being a part of One Binghamton.